Welcome to your introduction to watercolor pencils. So grade 7/8, you guys will notice that we have several different kinds of watercolor pencils for you to choose from in our supplies section of the watercolor painting cart. You have the Derwent watercolor pencils. You've got a Prismacolor. And then we also have a Pentel. You may be asking, how can I decide which one is best for me? And the only way is to explore. So using a watercolor pencil, you're going to want to use the same kind of pressure that you do when you're doing a drawing. You might want to create a value scale. Perhaps you also want to explore maybe some hatching and some cross hatching. Okay. What's great about this is that you get to control your brush and how much water you put on. So your first step is always to draw with the watercolor pencils, and then you activate the color using water. How much water you add is dependent on what kind of technique you're looking to achieve. Do you want this to be really, really light? Or do you want to really show off the texture that you drew, like I do here? So this is our Pentel. Okay. If you're looking for some really deep pigmentation, I would always recommend using our Prismacolors. This is a more expensive supply, but it really is worth it. So if I'm pressing pretty hard here to create a nice wash, just to explore what that will look like. Okay, same thing, I'm going to add some water. Okay, and you see it's really rich. The Prismacolors are such a lovely, lovely shade. So this is our Prisma. And then finally, we have got some Derwent. So with Derwent, I'm going to try scumbling. Remember, you can do all kinds of things with your supplies. It's important to explore and do some just light mark making as well here. Blending it with a different color to see what that might look like. That's broken, but I'll do blue. So I'm going to do some light mark making to see if we're going to get a blend of colors together. Same thing. I'm going to scumble with my paintbrush as I'm adding water here. And then we'll see what that kind of comes up with. Does it get purple? A little bit. That's really, really fun. Sort of a supplementary technique you guys can always try is really fun. This is a wet on wet technique where you paint water directly onto your surface. And taking a pair of scissors and using not the Prismacolors, I would suggest using this one. You're going to scrape off the pigment directly onto our water. This is a really great example of being able to create a nice blend. And you can, of course, mix up which ones you are using. To have a mixture. That is really fun. The last thing, the reason why we sometimes like using watercolor pencils is because of the control it has, particularly if you are creating a beautiful drawing. So if you are spending tons of time on your drawing, you don't want to ruin what you've added. If painting is potentially quite new to you, and sometimes a great option is to do watercolor pencils instead. So here, maybe I'm going to color this in with light green. Instead, I'm going to use just a flat brush. I'm going to change up my technique here since we have some hard edges. Okay. See, with the flat brush, I'm able to maintain those edges. Going back in the water before I try out my second. I'm going to move back to my round brush here. So you have a lot of control. Okay, so those are your watercolor pencils. Good luck. Have fun.